Access granted.
I am back to interviewing streamers and asking them about their background, how they got to Twitch, and their journey as streamers. My goal is to drop an episode at least twice a month. Do whatever the equivalent of following is on the platform you are listening to this on, so you know when I have dropped the next episode of Stream Machine. If you end up enjoying this episode, please give it 5 stars or whatever that is on the platform you're listening on, so that this podcast can grow. And thank you for that. And a reminder on who I am. I am Miniature Gold. I stream on Twitch on Tuesday through Thursdays and on Saturdays, and often more than that. And these days I'm playing a lot of variety. Right now that is Punch Out for the NES, Strider 2014, and DKC2. And as time passes, I will be playing other games. But in the end, I stream to be with you, to be with my friends, for the company, to talk, to mess around. And if you'd like to join us and have some fun, please follow twitch.tv/miniaturegold so you know when I'm streaming, so you can hang with us. Today, I'm interviewing NikDudeN7, and we first met indirectly. That is, he came along with a barb raid. That is BarbarousKing. If he's not the biggest Kaizo streamer, he's definitely one of the biggest. And yeah, I won the lottery on that one.
Damn. He's got no mic or cam. Raid Aura. That's why you always have to have a mic. Okay, I've never seen this streamer before. It looks like he has a mic and cam. His name is Minister Gold. I have no idea. He is... You can turn it on? Well, I already said Minister. All right. Well, I'm going to throw you guys over to Minister Gold. I have never seen this streamer before. He has 6 viewers. He is playing Akogare 2 for the first time. Never seen this streamer before. I don't know them at all. And let's go show up.
What the hell's going on?
It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you.
Isn't this nice?
Fuck. Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh my god. BarbarousKing, thank you for the raid. Holy fuck.
Nice.
Oh my
It's nice to
shit.
meet you. It's nice to meet you. Consider this song always.
And after the stream, he came back when it wasn't like so chaotic, and we chatted, and eventually I also ended up watching his stream too, and he seemed cool, and so I ended up basically watching his stream for almost 2 years. And so I thought, you know what, why not interview Nick? And so he agreed, and so today we're going to learn about Nick's journey as a gamer, as a streamer, what retro games he was into, how he got sucked into Halo, and what were his influences for getting into Kaizo, and I may have surprised him accidentally about getting him to do an impression that he doesn't want to do, an impression that he, before this podcast, only did twice, but it was so good I kind of pressured him into doing it again. so now that'll be 3 times. So yeah, if you watch, or if you listen to this podcast or watch it, depending on if you're on YouTube or on Podbean, you'll be able to hear him do an impression of a famous Mario character. I'm not gonna tell you who. If you know who Nick is, you know who it is, but if you don't know, then it'll be a fun surprise. So yeah, thank you for listening and watching if you're on YouTube, and yeah, I hope you enjoy.
I really don't want to do this. I might do it anyway for you, but disclaimer, I don't want to.
Hey Nick, how's it going?
Good, thanks, Minister. How are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, so today, like all the other previous episodes, I'm gonna ask you some questions about your background in terms of like gaming, in terms of how you got into streaming, just to get like your origin story as a streamer, basically. To get an idea of what you're into, because that'll reflect on what you do as a streamer as well. And yeah, that makes
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
okay. Awesome. So first of all, I like to ask everybody like how they came up with their name. Um, and I'm gonna, like I did with Gorpo, I'm gonna guess. Okay. So first of all, I guess go check out Nick on Twitch. His full username is NikDudeN7, like N is in Nancy. Yeah, go check him out, and you'll find out what kind of stuff he does on his stream later on in his podcast. But yeah, so your username is NikDudeN7. I know N7 is a reference to Mass Effect.
Sure is.
And I assume Nick is just short for your real name,
Yeah.
or is it okay? And dude, what about that?
So I don't know. My name's kind of basic because I used to go by Platinum Massamune, which I thought was pretty cool because
Okay.
Massamune was Sephiroth's sword.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I used to go by that until like I don't know, 9th grade or something, which is when you're 14, 13.
Yeah.
And I like my best friend basically he had a really young brother, and every time I went to his house, his brother would just be like, "Yo, what's up, Nick dude?"
That's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he said that every single time, and that's like all he called me. I don't know why.
Oh,
And then when I got 360 when I was like 17 or something,
mhm.
I think I started to feel like Platinum Massamy was a bit cringy, like edgy.
Okay.
So I just put in Nick Dude and I just stuck with it. And then
That's funny.
and then I added the N7 when Nick Dude's already taken, because Nick Dude by itself is usually taken on
Oh, I see. Okay.
popular
So that
platforms.
was that was like a backup then to change to N7.
Yeah.
I see. Cool. Yeah, I actually didn't know that about your username. Sorry.
Oh yeah. And yeah,
And
sorry.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and obviously the N7 is because I'm a huge Mass Effect fan.
Right. So growing up, let's say like elementary school, what were the games you remember most like enjoying?
How old are you in elementary school? I guess you're like 6 when you start, or 5.
Yeah, like 4 or 5, and then you go till like 11.
Yeah, okay. So I had a Super Nintendo first.
Mm-hmm.
I had like my older cousins had a original Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
which they would let me borrow for like months at a time and then take it back and repeat. And
Yeah.
I played I played Rampage on that a lot. SMB.
Rampage is it's like the Godzilla game sort of by Acclaim,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's probably a parody of Godzilla because you play as a giant lizard, and and
Right.
the other character's a gorilla, which is probably a parody of
Right.
King Kong.
Yeah.
So I played that a lot. I remember loving
Mhm.
Spy Hunter for NES, and I think I played SMB3, but I don't know if that game was really hard or if I just sucked balls, but yeah, I was not good at that game.
You know what's funny? Okay, so I talked to in the last episode I talked to Gorpo about that, and he didn't finish it either, and
Yeah.
I don't think he's going back to it.
Yeah, me neither.
And yeah, I tried SMB3, and yeah, I couldn't beat it either. I just think it was just a hard game.
Okay. That's a relief to hear.
Yeah. And then you mentioned Spy Hunter. What kind of game was that?
Oh man, how do you explain it? It's like a top down where you're in the car and you're just
Mhm.
it was almost like a mobile game, like a modern mobile game where you're just zooming forward and you got
Right.
to avoid other cars, and I can't remember if you could shoot or not, but
Mm.
yeah, a truck would come once in a while. You could drive into the back of the truck and you would come out with like an upgrade.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think the coolest thing was there would be a transition after a while where you would just drive into the water and the car would turn into a boat.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, if all you knew was NES, that would be so cool to see that.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that was like that was very little of my childhood. Like my parents got me an SNES, which I don't know how they knew about that because they came from a country called Guyana, which is like almost a third world country. I gotta ask them how they knew to get me a console, but they got me SNES, and I had Star Fox and Super Mario World, of course, and Battletoads.
Oh, yeah.
So I played those a ton. They played with me a lot too. And then the other games I got for that were like Yoshi's Island. I remember being obsessed with. But then after that, I got a PS1 when that came out, and I think that's where most of my childhood memories were because I played Final Fantasy 7 and 8, which obviously I loved, and Tactics, and and Crash and Spyro. So my dad actually there was a guy at his work that would sell him games for like really cheap. So I had like he would come like every week he would come home with like a few new games. So I had like over 100 games for PS1 when I was a kid. Yeah.
Wait, so do you still have those games?
I do. Yeah.
Where do you have them on a shelf or like in a CD jacket or like?
Yeah, I put them in a CD jacket, like a binder kind of thing. But I didn't play most of them. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I just played the best ones over and over again, if that makes sense.
Can't imagine playing like 100+ games even in my childhood.
Yeah, I think I tried probably most, if not all of them, but then like a lot of them were so crappy, you know what I mean? And then
like just like controls or like
yeah, or maybe I just didn't get it. Yeah, so a lot of JRPGs, and Harvest Moon, Back to Nature was a huge one on PS1 for me too.
Yeah.
So that was elementary school.
Really quick, I wanted to ask you, so were you raised in Canada or did you spend some time like being raised in another country?
No, I was born here. My parents came here in like the 70s or 80s.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so after PS1, do you want me to keep going through all the consoles?
Yeah.
So yeah, after PS1, I got a PS2. I can't remember. So I guess I must have been 12 and kind of saved up with like Christmas and birthday money for that. I think my parents probably pitched some in too. Bought a PS2. Yeah. My first game was I think it was the Spider-Man movie game. Which
how was that?
I remember liking some parts of it, or maybe I wanted to like it, but it was extremely hard. I never beat it. Yeah.
What part of it did you give up on?
There was a mission where you have to be stealth and you're inside. I forget the exact details, but you have to be stealth in some kind of like vault area, and I could just never not get caught by the enemies.
You must have also played MGS at some point, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I played that a lot for PS1.
Did you play the Spider-Man game before or after MGS?
After, for sure, because that was PS2, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, I would have. I mean, I guess maybe they just did the stealth differently. I thought maybe like if you had exposure to MGS for PS1, then maybe that would help you. But I guess it's just different. So.
It was way different because you're crawling on in Metal Gear Solid. You see the enemy's cones of vision. In Spider-Man, you're like crawling on the walls and ceiling, and I think there were like spotlights looking for you, and you had to avoid them. But I don't know.
But you couldn't see where they were going.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember that much about
Gotcha.
it.
Okay. All right. So Spider-Man and what else?
The Bouncer was, I think, the second game I got. Played that a ton. That's like a beat 'em up game by Square Enix.
Mm.
And then Final Fantasy X, played a ton of that. Star Ocean 3, I played a lot. So yeah, I was really, really into JRPGs growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
I never had a N64 or a GameCube. My cousins did though, and I played a lot at their houses.
What kind of games did you play with your cousins?
Mario Party, Super Mario 64, I can't remember what else, friend. Oh, Mario Kart, of course.
Okay, yeah, I was like, no Mario Kart?
A little bit. Oh, Mario Kart for
yeah.
SNES. That was another one I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
But GameCube, I pretty much totally slept on. Cause
I mean, I did too, actually.
oh yeah.
But what were you playing instead of, well, I guess
PS2.
PS2.
Yeah. Oh, and Soul Calibur 2, man, on PS2. I played that a lot. I think that's actually probably where my love of fighting game. Actually, no, I played a lot of fighting games for PS1 as well. Like there was a Street Fighter game that had
Street Fighter Alpha 3?
No, it was like one of the weird ones, like Street Fighter EX2 Plus. That
oh yeah, it was one of the 3D ones.
Yeah, and it had like 30 characters. I played that one a lot. And then Marvel vs. Capcom, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there was a fighting game called Wu-Tang.
Oh, the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah.
I played that game so much, man. But yeah, it was they were really tough.
Something that was really cool about Soul Calibur 2 is I think they had some really crazy crossovers for like each of the consoles. Like I think for GameCube they had Link.
Yeah.
For PS2 they had Heihachi, and then Xbox, what do they have? They have like one of the Star Wars characters.
Wasn't it Spawn?
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was Spawn.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like, and Heihachi was kind of I did play a lot of Tekken, but I thought Heihachi was the most underwhelming of the three.
I agree. I don't know who else they would use. It's like with the, because he doesn't have a weapon. Like
yeah.
I mean, you already have Yoshimitsu, so you can't add him.
I wonder. I guess Halo came out after, but maybe they didn't want to put Master Chief if
he has a gun and everything.
Yeah, he's not a fighter, like, you know, that
kind of fighter. Yeah. Speaking of Halo, I know you're a really big Halo fan, right?
Yeah. So
when did that start?
Yeah, so that was after PS2. So PS2, I can't remember what other games I played, but I played it for like most of its life. And then I didn't really have interest in the next generation of consoles because I wanted, like, I did not care about Xbox at all. You know what I mean? Like I kind of played it at my friend's house, but it was just whatever to me. Even Halo 1 and 2 I played with him, but I wasn't like crazy about it. But then so the next generation came out, 360 and PS3, and in my head I was like, well, I'm obviously going to get a PS3 because I'm a PlayStation boy, but it was so expensive. I was like 16 when that came out. And I'm in Canada, so they were really expensive. Like I swear it was
$400 or something.
Oh, way more, like over 500. I want to say like 6 maybe, or maybe it was probably something like I wanted the biggest hard drive version, which was $100 more expensive. So I don't know. I just kind of never bothered. Like I played it at my friend's houses a bit. But then my cousin took me to his place one day in like 2006, and he just put on Halo 3 for me, and he had an HD TV, which was new at the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I played Halo 3 in HD at his place, and they had surround sound and everything, and I was like,
Man.
I
It's
couldn't.
old.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like I'd never seen video games like this before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just, after 10 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I need to get this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was in university, and I had my first co-op job, which is, I guess, internship in America, I spent my first paycheck on an HD TV and 360 and Halo 3. And
Okay, so I just want to process for a second how much it was burned into your memory. Okay, so you played this at 16, you had this experience at 16, right?
mhm.
And then you're still thinking about it when you're in university. So, that's like isn't that's like at least a couple of years, right?
Well, no, because I think maybe I was 17 because my birthday's late, right? So I
Okay.
was 17 in university.
Yeah.
So maybe it was I played it when I was
see.
16, then went to university and then turned 17, and then I
see.
got it in like January, or like add a year to that. Maybe I was 17, played it at his place, turned 18, and then in January had my first job and bought it then. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think I was 17 going on 18.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, when I was 18, I guess I bought it and played that so much. That was like peak multiplayer gaming for me. Like you probably hear
Yeah.
a lot of people say that about Halo, right? And not even just Halo, just at the time, like Halo and COD and Gears were all popping off.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people played a lot of online multiplayer around that time.
So, after getting into like Halo 3, that was that like a gateway for other FPS games or no?
I don't think so. I think I tried most of them online, but just couldn't stick with them. I played COD a little bit, like
Yeah.
by a little bit. This is probably like dozens of hours, but that's a little bit when you're a teenager.
Right.
And it wasn't as much as my friends. Like I just always went back to Halo. And then the thing is, Halo, like they just kept making games after that, right? So I just kept playing those. And
So, like, sorry, really quick.
Mhm.
So you said you tried COD for a little bit and you didn't stick. And what was it about Halo versus COD that made you stick with Halo?
I guess back then I probably didn't think about it. But thinking about it now, it was probably the time to kill. Because in Halo, you take very long to die because you have a shield. So that allows you to kind of like,
For playtime, basically.
yeah, well, you can do things to survive. So if you're peeking properly, and then when you start getting shot, you can hide and your shield comes back. But I think in some other games that's not true. Like if you're caught in enemy sights, you're just dead.
Right. Or at least at the time, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But that's just my memory. Like I didn't play many other games other than Halo and COD, so that difference is mainly just those two. I'm not sure what else was like big back then. I never got into PC game. I was never a PC gamer until later, so I don't know what PC shooters were like back then.
And after you got into Halo 3, were you playing other games as well, or were you like pretty sucked into the Halo franchise?
Oh yeah, I played a lot of 360, man. I was obsessed with achievements. So throughout all of university, I was just like getting tons and tons of achievements, like 100% in games. Trying to think what other games were up there for. Oh, you know what I was really into? The rhythm games.
Oh, like DDR or like
No, Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I played those an insane amount in university on 360. And yeah, I got really good at them.
Like, did you play this on your own, or did you play it like with friends, or like?
Mostly on my own and with my little
Okay.
sister. Yeah.
Also, something else I want to touch on is so okay, is it correct you're like a math whiz?
Yeah. I went to university for math and physics.
Okay. So did you pursue math and physics just like out of pure interest, or like yeah, why did you go into that?
Because so I was like always really good at math in like, you know, my whole life, I guess. And then in high school I knew I wanted to do something really heavy with math, but I didn't want to do pure math because I knew that that wouldn't lead to any careers except for like academia, which I didn't really want to do. So I read this book called The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene when I was 15. And this was, I think I was grade 11 or 12, which I guess, I don't know what that's called in America. Sophomore. It's like your last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, junior and senior year. Yeah.
Okay. So I read that like just before we were deciding like which universities to apply to. So that book, Elegant Universe, he explains like the basics of quantum physics in layman's terms and the basics of general relativity in layman's terms, and then like the last 20% of the book is about then current efforts to unify the two because they can't be unified. So I fell in love with physics after I read that book, and I was like, I'm going to university for physics.
Um, so now you're a developer. Do you are you still doing anything with physics or no?
No. So what happened was with all the internships in university.
Yeah.
So for my program, well, I guess for any like scientific or engineering program, there we had to take 5 internships throughout. And
Okay.
yeah, so going back a step, as part of the requirement for the degree, we had to do some programming courses. And I went to University of Waterloo, and they kind of like whip you into shape for anything they teach you. Like they're pretty hardcore. So they taught me programming really well in like one course.
Nice.
And then every term I was like trying to find physics jobs. Every co-op term / internship,
Yeah.
I was trying to find physics jobs, and there were none. Like there were some in Europe at I think CERN maybe, and maybe Snow Lab, which is like many hours north, and then some in Victoria. But I wanted to stay there, so I was trying to look local, and there were so many programming jobs, dude. Like this was right when, you know, that industry, like software development, software engineering was just like exploding. So there were so many, and I would spend, so you spend a whole like school term looking for your job for the next term. So I would spend the whole term looking for a physics job and constantly failing, and then in like the last couple of weeks I'd settle and get a programming job for my internship, and that continued throughout all of university, and I just kept getting better and better at it, I guess. And then by the time I graduated, I was like, I guess I'm a programmer now.
So question. When you said you were looking for a physics job, like what kind of job is a physics job exactly? Uh, like is that like academia or like yeah, what is that?
Hmm. Trying to think back. So I guess there were some companies that do like physics related things. Like I remember one job I really wanted was some company making like some advanced hearing aids. So it was a lot of like sound related stuff.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
and then one was a company that makes like engineering simulation software. So that would have been actually I did get that one. That one was really physics intensive, but I was working on something else not related to physics at all. Um, sorry, that company was really physics intensive, but the position I had was not related to physics at all. And so I forget what company was in. There was a company in Vancouver that hired a lot of physics students, but I didn't want to move there. I forget what company it was.
Right.
And then here we had a Perimeter Institute right by the university, which does a lot of theoretical physics research. So that would have been an option too.
Yeah.
And then Snow Lab, that's it's Snow SNO. That's the Sudbury Neutrino Observatory.
Okay.
So it's like an observatory that can detect neutrinos, or could in the past. They're changing it now.
Sorry. So for the science morons like myself, what's a neutrino?
It's just another subatomic particle.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was just curious about that. And so were there any other games like post Halo 3 that were really memorable, or was that pretty much it?
Um. So I think I just kept achievement hunting on 360.
Yeah.
Lost Odyssey is one that comes to mind on 360. That was. Have you heard of that game?
I have not.
So people call it the last good Final Fantasy. Although
Oh,
I don't know if they still say that now that like, 7 remake and 16 are out.
right.
But
Yeah.
basically it came out after FF10
Mm.
and FF13, or no, yeah, I think people were like mixed on FF12 and people didn't like 13 or 15, but Lost Odyssey it had a lot of the main Final Fantasy people working on it.
Mm,
So
okay.
even though it's not a Final Fantasy game, it very much feels like one, and I think that's
Yeah.
why people will call it, or used to call it, the last good Final Fantasy. That game is amazing. It's a JRPG on 360.
Interesting. Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Um,
So that was one I loved. Mm,
no pressure either. If you can't think of any, I was just if I left anything out.
yeah, all good. I mean, I'm just drawing a blank, right? I would love to name them all and like give people the nostalgia, but I think that this was like, kind of like the downside of achievement hunting, actually, now that I think about it. They kind of like,
Mm.
they don't really stick out in your mind. Like it changes the way you play. Like some,
Oh, because you're just focusing on like I guess what the task is, I guess, rather than
yeah,
the game, I guess.
yeah. Like some games I would like open a guide, like a collectibles guide, and do that on the first playthrough. So it was more like doing a checklist than playing a game. But there were
Right, that
definitely
makes sense.
many I didn't do that. Like, Assassin's Creed, man. I loved the first 3 Assassin's Creed games. The Altair and Ezio ones. And then Grand Theft Auto 5. That game was really good too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I played that a lot.
nice. Um, okay, so let's talk about like what got you into streaming. How did that start off? Was there someone that you watched that influenced you, or yeah, how did you get into that?
Yeah, sure. Let me just chug some water here.
Sure.
So, uh Okay. I think I was working for a company in 2013 that had TVs in the caf, right? And they were, when GDQ was happening, they were playing it on the TVs. And someone explained it to me what it was, and then I got kind of into GDQ and watched it here and there. And I saw Carl Sagan 42's Yoshi's Island run on YouTube, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I pretty much mostly forgot about that for years. And then I think in, 2016 or 17, I just randomly thought of him, Carl Sagan 42, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that guy's doing now. I vaguely remember seeing his Yoshi's Island run. Let me go creep him on YouTube. So I looked him up and I found his Mario Maker videos. So this was early in Mario Maker 1. And I was like very, very quickly addicted. I like binged his videos all the time. And
same.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, and I would rewatch them over and over again. And then I saw his like collab videos with Pooh, and then I started watching Pooh, and his YouTube videos were just as good. And I also started watching Ryukar on YouTube, and then they talked about Barb a lot on all their videos, right? They'd be like, new Barb level. And obviously Carl Sagan had the Master and Commander video. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't. I mainly watched Carl and Barb. I watched Barb for his anger, and I watched Carl because he loves getting trolled.
Yeah, so Carl made a video on a level Barb made called Master and Commander, which was notoriously difficult. And I think eventually I think I was like slowly migrating toward Twitch. Like I followed all those guys on Twitch, and some like other bigger people I heard of, and I would try to watch them, but I was like not really into it. And then I don't know why, somehow I started watching Barb on Twitch, and he was so funny that's when I started watching. That's when I started watching a lot of Twitch. And slowly kept expanding, like watching more and more people on Twitch, getting more and more into Twitch. And I think this entire time while I was watching Carl and Pooh from the beginning, I was fantasizing about doing that. And I actually did stream back then. I think my first stream was Alien Isolation in 2016 or 17. I actually still have the video of that. And
nice.
It's really crappy because I had no I had no camera, and I had one monitor. So I think I remember my title was like something like, oh, can't see chat, only one monitor for now, but I'll try.
Awesome. That sounds like a first stream title.
Yeah, so I kept fantasizing about that, and then I would stream like, I don't know, maybe for like a week or two, and then, forget about it for a few months, and then try again. And sorry, what was the original question? I can't, am I rambling here?
Just how you got into Twitch.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's basically how I got into Twitch. Do you want me to talk about how I got into streaming from there regularly?
Yeah, I guess what was it that like what was it that triggered you to like I guess, was it just watching like I guess like Barb and Carl that was what triggered you to start streaming, or?
Yeah. So watching the Yeah, I don't know why I was fantasizing about doing what they do, but I was the whole time, but not really doing it. Or when I did try, I wasn't doing it properly. And then eventually I started trying to stream. Oh, after that, I was like trying to stream Overwatch because I was really into Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had a cam at that point. But those were really crappy streams too. Like my mic, there's actually like my oldest clip. If you see it, it's from Overwatch, and the game is like silent, and then my mic is like super loud.
So, how long did it take for you to I guess start improving the quality of the stream? Like, did people complain about it, or yeah, how did you start doing that?
Um, I don't know how I started doing that, but I just did it. I guess maybe I knew that I needed like lighting and a proper mic and stuff, but I didn't want to invest unless like I really got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you decided to start streaming, like, was there something you wanted from it in particular, or you just wanted to try it and see how it was?
So back then, I don't know what I wanted from it back then.
Yeah. You're just trying it, basically.
Yeah, just trying it. I think so. I did eventually like when I improved the quality, I was streaming Mario Maker, but I was still really inconsistent. And then when I finally did become consistent, I think like leading up to me becoming consistent, this was like August 2020, I think I started becoming consistent. So leading up to it, so this was during the pandemic, right? The pandemic started in March of that year.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time I felt like very lonely, and I was like I think like everyone I played Overwatch with like had moved on. So I really wanted gaming friends. So I kind of like resolved to solve these two things through Twitch. And then yeah, I just started streaming regularly in August. And then I met some people that helped me keep going, because before I had no idea how valuable networking was until I met my first Twitch friend. And yeah, he taught me about all that.
Yes. And so, is that still like the reason why you stream now, as far as like the social aspect of it, or?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think there was one night where a switch flipped in my head, where there was a Saturday night and I was so like bored and lonely, and no one was on Twitch that I usually watched. And I started to notice like, well, no one really streams on Saturday nights, because I guess I was just watching full-time streamers at the time, and they kind of treat their schedule like a weekdays.
Right.
So I kind of decided like, oh, I could be that guy that streams on Saturday nights for people like me who have nothing to do on a Saturday night. So that's why I stream
Yeah.
every Saturday night. Yeah.
And so, right now, as far as stream goes, you go like 50-50 between like Kaizo and variety, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At some point, did you do did you always do, or no, sorry, I was gonna ask at some point, yes, at some point did you do like full on Kaizo, or did it eventually like transition to like 50-50? Or was it always, when you started doing
Oh,
that, was it always like that?
um, it was always just pure Kai, or sorry, at the beginning it was just pure Kaizo. Uh, and then I think, yeah, I don't know when or why I decided to start including variety. But yeah, I slowly kept introducing it more and more. Basically, I think it was like before it was just once in a while I would do variety. Maybe it started with Mario Party when I would do those Mario Party streams.
Yeah, I remember those.
Maybe that's when it started. But yeah, I don't know. It just slowly evolved into 50/50. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then let's talk about a couple of your redeems.
Okay.
Um, okay. In my opinion, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think your most popular redeem is your hat redeem.
I think you're right too. Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, well, I guess nobody who's simply listening to this can see that. But I guess if you have a hat handy, you can put it on.
All right, I'll put on the most popular one.
Okay, there you go.
I guess you can't see me right now either, but you probably know which one I'm putting on.
Assuming Plant Daddy?
It is the plant hat. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's funny? Yesterday was Halloween, and I forgot to get a costume.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I wear this during stand-up? So I did.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, but there is something else though you can do that people, whether they're listening or watching here, because I think my opinion is I think this is like a talent that Nick has that I've tried and I can't do it. You have a really good Toad voice.
Oh no.
So yeah, I'm gonna go to Chat GPT real quick. Yeah, just give me a topic, and yeah, I'm not gonna ask you to read like an essay, but
I
I
really don't want to do this. I might do it anyway for you, but disclaimer, I don't want to.
Okay.
And I assume.
Give me a
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I assume I have to put the Toad hat on for this.
You know, I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
I will say though, the Toad voice hurts my throat, so that's why I've only said a few words at a time.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, okay, so everyone who's listening to this, do not go to his stream, ask him to do the Toad voice, because it's painful, and this is just for your entertainment, just like this one.
And embarrassing.
Okay. Tell me a story about how Nick. Let's see how a guy named NikDude discovered himself.
Can you
by talking like Toad from Super Mario?
Can you add like keep it under 5 words?
Okay. Please keep it 5 words. Oh, it gave me a title. Okay. Here you go. Paste it in Discord here. Okay.
Toad. Oh wait, I won't spoil that. You want me to read that in my Toad voice?
Yes, please.
With the Toad hat on?
Yep.
Dude, I'm so embarrassed. You know, my girlfriend's gonna hear this.
Well, she's used to it, right?
This is exactly the 3rd time I'm speaking like Toad. You realize that, right?
Oh, really?
I've only done it twice before, yeah, for the Poggy Woggies clip and then the happy birthday message.
Okay. Wait. Let me say one more thing. Okay. So you will not be able to hear him give you any custom lines in a Toad voice, but he does have a command called Poggies, in which you can hear a recording of him sound like Toad.
So you want me to read this text you sent me in my Toad voice?
Yeah, go for it. You're ready. You can do it.
Okay. Okay. Nick Dude's Toad Talk Journey.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm so ashamed right now.
For a good cause. Okay. I got one last question for you. Anybody who is starting out streaming, what advice would you give them?
What advice? Does it have to be one thing?
If you want to give more than one, that's fine.
I could go off like for an hour on this.
Okay, here let's do this. Your top 3 things.
Top 3. Okay. One is also, sorry, that's not to say I know everything. I just mean like I love talking about.
Say about it.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just meant like I love talking about Twitch with people and how to improve things or change things, because it's not like we're all trying to figure it out together as like all as small streamers, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that helped me is networking. Because when I started, it's weird because like it wasn't even a thing I thought it wasn't even a thing I thought of, right? Until when I finally went consistent, somebody I didn't know raided me and we became very good friends. And I think like the second or third time I streamed after I met him, I just like straight up asked him like, what advice do you have? And he said, just network, dude, just like go to other people's streams. And that, like, I was not doing that before.
Okay, so just to be clear, when you say networking, you mean go to other people's streams, just like talking, having a conversation? Is that what you mean? Or like
yeah, like try to yeah, I guess there's like that's tough to just say on its own, right? Like because there is like, I don't know if anyone knows the term network jerk, which is
just networking to get something for themselves, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to be like that, but I guess the way I see it is I try to meet as many people as possible on Twitch, because some of them you really hit it off with. And
that makes sense.
Right? And you won't know that until you try.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think there's so many people on Twitch that there's like anyone that you can become good friends with if you just keep looking.
Yeah, I like that approach. Yes.
So yeah, networking in a positive way. And then 2 would be keep trying, like don't give up / keep trying different things. So if you want to, grow or keep having fun, but neither of those 2 things are happening, don't give up, but don't just keep doing the same thing as a way of not giving up. Just try different things with respect to how you or your stream are presented. Like I look up a lot of YouTube videos about like charisma.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And then 3. I guess like I know I said I could talk about this for hours, but I'm drawing a blank now.
Oh no. Okay. Well, get baited, audience.
Baited.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, it's fine. If you can't think of a third thing, that's fine. Those are actually, I think those 2 things are both pretty interesting on their own right. As far as sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I guess like I don't know. Like another third thing is like I think your stream should be decent quality. Because if you're starting out, right? I think a good way to look at it is that if you want to grow then that means if someone clicks on your stream, you want a high probability of them staying. Right? So if there are things you can do to increase that probability, you should. And things like good mic quality will do that, and like a good layout.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for telling us like your journey, all the games you're into, and yeah, how you got onto Twitch.
Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah.
me, dude. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody.
Bye.